Hello, assemble this painting with me. I'm just going to show you some of the assembling bits because everything else takes a while. Basically though, I paint lots and lots of sections of watercolor paintings, paper. I do everything in sections. I sort of imagine what I want, and then I tear or cut the paper, and then I arrange and rearrange until there is like a click in my soul that says, this is it. And then I further trim the paper to get it the exact right size. And then I begin this assembling process. So that's where we are right now. I put all of my artwork on cradled wood boards. So I do either gesso or paint them. A lot of times I just paint them a dark color, and so that the sides look finished. They can also be framed later. Sometimes I do that. So I use a Liquitex acrylic matte gel, and that is how I affix all of my artwork. So I will paint it on one side of the board, and then I paint the piece of paper that I'm affixing onto the board, and I lay it down, and I use that roller that you saw, especially if it's a larger square, kind of square inch area, to just get it really on there and get it flat. And then I just go layer by layer. I start at the top and work my way down the painting. Right now, off camera, I am just trimming down the paper a bit. Sometimes I get it close, but then leave a little bit of extra room just in case something is a little bit larger than I thought it was. I want the edges to match up pretty well. So I do have a paper cutter off camera that I'm going back and fixing. I'm going back to fix the paper to make sure it lines up. So then it just goes layer by layer. I just paint the acrylic matte gel onto the paper or onto the board, and then I just keep going layer by layer. And again, this is the very end of the process. This is like the easy, fast process that takes, depending on the size of the painting, like this is a small 5 by 7 inch painting. This took about 10 minutes maybe to assemble. Once I got to this point, all of the hard work is in the arranging and getting it in a way that makes me really makes my soul sing. So once I get to this point, other than doing a little bit of trimming and making sure my hands are clean and making sure things line up the way I want them to, this part is pretty simple. So I will let you watch as I assemble the last couple of layers of this piece. I felt this piece wasn't quite lining up the way that I wanted it to, so I did a tiny bit of trimming with my scissors just to get it to a place that it made me really, really happy. There is quite a bit of adjusting just to make sure everything is lining up exactly the way that I want it to, which I never really notice while I'm doing it, but I sure notice when I'm recording a video about it. And now it's time for the final layer that I'll be gluing down, and here I go. I did have to trim it a little bit. I always leave that very last layer a little bit wider just in case. Sometimes just things get the slightest bit off kilter, and I want to make sure that the lowest piece is wide enough, but this one all worked out well. So now I am adding that final piece, and the two last things that I will do, one, on a painting like this that doesn't have a moon, it usually means that it has a big open sky, and I will find a way to add some birds. So I will place a couple of swoopy V birds flying around in the scene. Sometimes I have to think about a little bit where I want them to be. And yes, it is bold of me to complete a whole painting, but then there it is, and then I will put it under a weight to get it all stuck down.